Influencers, the creator economy, crypto, and just good old-fashioned greed. This story has gone sort of mainstream, so I wanted to do an analysis or a post-mortem on what happened with CxCoin, Ice Poseidon, or Paul Danino as he is more commonly known, what we can learn from this, and how to identify if a project is a rug pull, pump and dump, or some other kind of scam. If you just want to hear the steps on evaluating a crypto project, you can jump to this point in the video or check the timestamps down below. I do want to credit CoffeeZilla for doing all of the reporting on Ice Poseidon and CxCoin, so if you want to see a breakdown of the evidence, please be sure to check out his videos. I will leave a link to them in the description down below. Okay, so the cliff notes on CxCoin and what we can learn from it. Last year, Paul Danino, aka Ice Poseidon, who is a well-known streamer, launched CxCoin, which was supposed to be a donation platform for streamers. In fact, according to their website, the purpose of CxCoin was to allow streamers and content creators a safe and easy method of receiving support through cryptocurrencies, along with its auto buyback system. However, after the project kicked off, Danino ended up withdrawing the equivalent of $200,000 in crypto out of the project's liquidity pool, and then another $53,000 out of the marketing budget, and used that money to apparently buy himself a Tesla. When crypto prices started to crash, Danino drained the liquidity pool further, taking out around $300,000, or about 90% of the value of that pool. This practice is known as a rug pull. So at the end of the day, we have about $500,000 that people just aren't getting back. So you can see why this kind of made it into the news and why people are unhappy. So first, some terminology. What on earth is a rug pull, and how is it different from its cousin, the pump and dump? Well, let me tell you. So rug pulls require someone removing liquidity from a coin or token on a decentralized exchange, which makes it impossible for the holders of the token or coin to sell it in exchange for ETH or Bitcoin or something else that you can actually use to buy things with. So when you hear the term rug pull, all you have to know is that essentially a bunch of people who own a token are now stuck with that token or coin, and they can't sell it. And you may hear people using rug pull as a verb. For example, you just got rugged. So you can say rug or rug. A pump and dump, which is a term you might have heard from traditional investing, involves manipulating the price of a coin or token to go up significantly and then quickly selling to maximize your return at the expense of everybody else. So Danino reportedly told people that he couldn't rug CxCoin because the liquidity pool money was locked up in a smart contract and that his money was pinned. There was no real elaboration on what exactly pinned meant, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because it clearly wasn't the case. He definitely had access to the liquidity pool. This segues nicely into our next term, liquidity pool. A liquidity pool is a crowdsourced account of cryptocurrencies or tokens that is typically locked in a smart contract, ideally. This pool of funds is used to facilitate trades between your coin or token and other coins such as Bitcoin or Ethereum on a decentralized exchange. Cryptos and tokens use liquidity pools so that when someone wants to sell their assets and exchange it for, let's just say ETH to keep things easy, they can do that without waiting for the exchange to match them with a buyer who is willing to buy at the same price. Instead, it just goes through the liquidity pool. And there are all sorts of risks of investing in a market or a project that has low liquidity, but we can get into that another time. Okay, we had to swap out memory cards, but we are back. What was I talking about? I think it was liquidity pools. Right. So in the case of CxCoin, when Danino withdrew all the funds out of the liquidity pool, those still holding CxCoin can't do anything with it because there isn't enough liquidity or funds to participate with a decentralized exchange. Okay, the last term that I wanted to go over is white paper, because as we will cover later, they are very important. In crypto, projects will publish a white paper, which is a plain English document or web page that outlines how the coin, the DAO, or the token operates. In the case of CxCoin, they actually did have a white paper, and it said things like 3% of all generated fees would go to a marketing wallet and fund marketing campaigns. Makes sense. That's great. but it apparently isn't what ended up actually happening. So with that, let's look at the 5 steps you can follow to determine if a crypto project is legit or not. And the theme with all of these kind of comes back to the idea that cryptos, DAOs, and NFTs are all built on this culture of transparency. So if a project is legit, you should be able to find information on the following things pretty easily. Keep in mind that once your crypto is gone, there is no way to get it back. So the best time to identify a scam is before you ever open your wallet. Dior, or do your own research, is a standard term in crypto, and there's a good reason for that. First, you're going to want to research the developers. If you can find little or no information, or if all the information is really vague about the developers behind the project, that is a red flag right there. If you are able to find information on the developers, then the next thing you can do is research their track record to see what other projects they've worked on and kind of how those turned out. Odds are it's not going to be their first crypto project. Additionally, the token name, the creator address, and the contract source code are some important details most genuine token creators publish for transparency, so also keep an eye out for those. Next, we are going to want to read their white paper. As I mentioned before, every legit project will publish a white paper, which is a plain English document that explains the purpose of a project, the technology behind it, and other details such as how funds will be used. If a project doesn't have a white paper, that is a red flag. It's actually like more than a red flag, that's a deal breaker. Like, you do not need to go on to step 3 at this point. If you can't find their white paper, just you're out. If you are able to find their white paper and you read it and things look, pretty good, you can move on to step number 3, which is to basically stalk their social media. So do a deep dive into Discord, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, all of it. And you're going to want to do this for the project social media, for the founder's social media, and then for anyone who is promoting the project. Look for any hints of people talking about doing something shady. On Discord specifically, if people get banned or shamed for asking technical questions, that is another red flag. Anyone who is legit will happily answer technical questions all day long. And when you're kind of going through their social media, also take a look to see how genuine the social media following is. Are there a lot of bots? What's the engagement like? If the engagement's really low, that could also be another red flag. Other shady terminology is if they promise high returns in a very short amount of time. No one can promise that. Not in regular investing, not in crypto. And step number 4 is ask about the liquidity pool. In legit projects, the developers usually do not have control over the liquidity pool for reasons that we have covered earlier today. Ideally, the pool is locked on a blockchain smart contract and or with a third party. If the liquidity pool is properly locked, then team members cannot drain it and execute a rug pull. If you find that the liquidity pool is unlocked or under the control of the project team, that's a red flag right there. And finally, number 5. The next step you can't do until you actually buy some of the coin or token, which is why it is last. So if you go through all these steps and you decide to go ahead and buy into a project, start off with a small amount of capital that you can afford to lose. And after you purchase that coin or token, check to see if you can actually sell it. So scam projects will stop investors from selling coins once they've purchased. It's sometimes branded as an anti-dumping mechanism, which is another red flag. That's not a real thing. Legit projects do not do that. And those are my top 5 tips. If you think I should add and maybe update this video, please let me know in the comments down below. I hope that you found this video helpful, and please don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.